Hey guys, my name is Shirley and welcome to Learning with Purpose, where it's all about helping you achieve your educational goals. So it's been a super hot minute since I was last here, and I apologize. I understand that I went MIA on you guys and I really am sorry, but everything's back in tune now, so get ready to see a whole lot of me. So anyway, without further ado, let us get into the video. Alright, so a few months back I made a video for Year 12 students giving them advice on 12 things that they should know before they enter into Year 12. So I thought it's only fitting that I do one also for Year 11 students. Alright, so number one is take Year 11 as a year of experimenting. So use it as a year to experiment and figure out what works best for you. So now we all know that the year grades you get in Year 11 don't exactly correlate to your ATAR. So use it as a year to be like, alright, what works best for me? Am I somebody who prefers to handwrite my notes? Am I somebody who prefers to type them out? Do I work best with palm cards? Do I work best with mind maps? Figure out which subjects are a bit more difficult for you and which subjects don't require that much of your time. So yeah, use it as a year to experiment, because once you get into Year 12, you won't have that luxury of experimenting as much. So yeah, use Year 11 as a year to experiment and really figure out what's going to work best for you in Year 12. Alright, and number two is I just want to get rid of the whole myth that Year 11 doesn't count. Although in a way it doesn't directly affect your marks to your ATAR, Year 11 actually does count in some way. Because when you look, there's going to come a time that you're going to want to apply for scholarships, for early offers, early entry. You're going to want to apply for cadetships and things like that. And sometimes applications for early entry come out in the middle of Year 12. So at that time, sometimes you won't have your Year 12 report ready. So what they're going to ask of you is your Year 11 report. So if you are messing up all of Year 11 and didn't give a damn or anything like that, that's going to reflect in your Year 11 report. So I'm not saying have perfect grades or perfect this, that in Year 11. But I'm saying do make an effort, because when you do want to apply for things like scholarships and when you do want to apply for things like early offers and early entry, they will look at your Year 11 report. So you want to make sure, you don't have that many days absent. You're not showing that you're always late to class. Your teachers have good comments about you. So in that way, Year 11 does count. Next up is participate in as many extracurricular activities as you can possibly manage. Now, again, when it comes to applying for things like early entry and scholarships and even part-time jobs, a lot of employers and a lot of universities will be looking to see what more do you do outside of just your schooling life. Do you participate in debating? Do you play sports outside of school? All those things add to building your resume. They add to building your application for your scholarships and stuff like that. And in that time as well, you really do learn key skills, things like leadership, communication, and all that kind of stuff. Things that you won't learn in your typical classroom settings. So yeah, I would advise you to get involved in an extracurricular activity. Next up is familiarize yourself with your syllabus. Now, coming from Year 10, teachers don't really emphasize the syllabus that much, but when you do come into Year 11, and definitely when you come into Year 12, your syllabus is going to have to be your Bible. So at this stage, I just recommend you to go on the Border Studies website, have a look at the different syllabuses for your subjects. Look at what you're going to be covering in that term. Look at the key terms and terminologies that the Border Studies uses, and just start incorporating that when you are making your study notes. Alright, next up is read your prescribed texts in advance. So especially I think for quite a few subjects, and especially for English, you are going to have some prescribed text or things that you should be reading for your Year 11 or Year 12 journey. So my recommendation is just to read that in advance, because when you are in Year 11 and Year 12, I think the workload does increase a bit. So, if you have read your prescribed text in advance, it really does help to cut down that stress and that amount of work. Next up is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and it's build a positive and effective support network. Now, year 11, for some people it's easy, for some people it's a bit of a jump and it's a bit challenging. So I think it's just always great to have a great support network. When I say have a great support network, it's build people around you who are supportive of your goals and who motivate you and who push you to achieve those goals. Do not surround yourself with people who don't share that same mentality. You know, in year 11, you're going to go through difficult times. You're going to sometimes need a bit of motivation. There are times you might even battle with things like mental health and stuff like that. And it's always great to have that support network. So it may be your parents, it may be your brother and sister, maybe somebody who's done their HSC before, it may be somebody who's doing the HSC with you. But yeah, just try to build that positive support network now so that when you do need it, it's already there for you. Next up is establish goals. So I'm pretty sure you guys have heard a lot of talk about goals, but really goals are important because they're going to push you when you feel like you just want to give up. So it's really good to establish your goals and have goals so that they guide how you're going to approach year 11. Like if your goal is to say, by the end of year 11, I want to be a more confident speaker, then enroll yourself in like public speaking and debating and stuff like that. So yeah, have goals so that you have a path and a clear structure on how you're going to take on year 11. I hope that makes sense. Next up is have a balance. I mean, in year 11, that's when people turn 16 and you have 16th birthday parties and all that kind of stuff. Go, you know, if you have a part-time job, don't necessarily quit your job. If you can manage it, then hey, don't quit your job, still go to work. But yeah, do make sure you have that balance, because it's so important to make sure that your whole world doesn't just revolve around the HSC, because really the HSC is not everything. It's such a small fraction of your life. So don't make your whole world about your HSC. But in saying that, do give it the time that it deserves. Do not neglect, you know, your studies because you're going to a party. Don't neglect, you know, submitting an assignment on time because you want to sleep in. So yeah, have that balance. Manage your schooling and your non-schooling life at the same time. Alright, next up is be aware of competition. Now, this is something that I wasn't particularly aware of going into year 11, that people get really competitive, because when you get to year 11 and 12, it's all about ranks and competition, who's got the highest marks and who's got this, that. I'm not going to tell you how to approach that because everybody takes competition in a different way. Personally, I'm somebody who's not very competitive. I don't like what competition brings out of people. I'm very competitive within myself, but I don't like to compete with other people. Somebody else may be completely different. Other people do like competition and they do very well in competitive situations. So I'm just putting that out there just so that you are aware that in year 11, people do get quite competitive sometimes because they are fighting for those ranks. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the way that it is. So it's just up to you to decide how you want to approach it. All right, next up is I want you to be aware that workload changes. And for some people, it does increase quite a lot, depending also on your subjects, their level of difficulty, and just as well as your mind and how it works. So make sure you're managing your time well. Try to figure out, okay, which subjects require more time from me. For me personally, I didn't need to put that much effort into business studies, but I did need to work a lot on economics. So I had to manage my time well so that I said, okay, instead of spending 2 hours on economics and 2 hours on business studies, I'll spend, hey, maybe 3 hours on economics and just 1 hour on business studies. And that worked for me. So yeah, look at your timetable and try to manage it as best as you can. All right, last but not least, number 11, stay calm and work hard. Like I said before, the HSC is not everything. So don't let it get to your mental health. Don't sacrifice who you are for the HSC. So yeah, do stay calm, but in saying that, do work hard. Good marks don't just come to people who sit on their butts. Like, hey, maybe it does. Maybe you're just somebody who is just naturally blessed like that way, that you don't even need to study and you get those great marks. But there's some people out there who really do need to work their butts off in order to get those great marks. So yeah, I really do encourage you, work hard, push yourself, you know, push yourself and see what you can do. All right, so that'll be all from me today.
Okay, so major plot twist, my camera just randomly died on me, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please do pop that like and subscribe button, share it around with your friends because it really does help out a lot. And with all that being said and done, dream big and hustle hard. I'll see you again next time. Bye!